And man, look at he's punching this guy in the stomach, and you feel it. I mean, just he's really going back. Today we are looking at Batman. Yes, Neal Adams Batman. And of course, this is the Treasury edition, but it's a reprint that came out very recently. And I'm so excited to go through this because I am a big Neal Adams fan. I love Neal Adams artwork, and from this cover, man, what a great artist. Now, this comic has a wraparound cover. I'll show it to you real quick. This book is ginormous, by the way. I don't know if the original was this big, but man, this is absolutely amazing. And of course, this is the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul, however you want to say it. I say Ra's al Ghul, but some people say Ra's al Ghul. Who knows? Whatever. Doesn't matter. All that matters is that we're taking a look at Neal Adams doing Batman. So I'm gonna try my best to get this all on the screen. It might be a bit difficult, but man. So we start out with this amazing artwork here of Robin coming into a window, and just right off the bat, great figure work by Neal Adams. I wouldn't expect any different. I mean, this is Neal Adams we're talking about here. I mean, can you think of a better figurative artist in mainstream comics? Neal's up there for one of my favorite artists in mainstream comics. So, start with this amazing page, and I'm telling you, the size of this book is just, it's unbelievable. I mean, just looking at the art this big is amazing. It's on like this newsprint, which is very cool. Or, yeah, it is on newsprint. And I'm very happy that they printed it on newsprint. You get to relive the experience all over again. All right, here we go. I mean, first off, master storyteller. I mean, we're seeing completely different compositions on different panels. I mean, we see this far away, close up, different perspectives. I mean, Neal is a master and was a master at the time. And I think he draws the coolest Batman. I really do. I mean, his Batman is just so cool. You know, Frank Miller draws a great Batman too, but his Batman's more bulky than Neal Adams is. But I like this slick look. Very, very cool. Every time I see a Neal Adams drawing, the funny thing is I actually see a bit of Loomis in his work sometimes, and I'm not a big Loomis fan, but yeah, I don't know. It feels like he was an Andrew Loomis guy, kind of like Alex Ross is, but who knows? But just a great figure drawing there. Awesome. I mean, I mean, everything looks so natural. I mean, you see Batman bending over, his knee coming up. It just looks natural. It looks like something that, you know, people do. You know, it doesn't look stiff at all. I gotta tell you, if you are considering this, I know $15 is a bit pricey for a book like this, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, 76 pages, but I can't express the size. The size is amazing. I mean, look at that drapery of that, you know, of that piece of cloth there coming down. So cool. I mean, and I love the way he does. I love the way he does the cape. Just really had an understanding of drapery, and then you get these awesome close-ups. Great face drawings. I don't know who inked this. I'm not sure. I don't know if it gives credit to an inker. I don't know if Neal inked this himself. I'm not entirely sure who the inker on this book is, but whoever it is, they did a great job too. And the color work is awesome as well. Man, gotta learn to draw everything. You want to become a comic book artist, you gotta learn how to draw planes. I'm not a big fan of planes or drawing planes, but if I have to draw one, I have to learn how to do it. Man, I mean, look at those muscles. Look at the striations of the muscles as he's lifting it up, and this movement of him grabbing on to whatever that is. I think it's like a I don't know, like a cloth maybe. Maybe he's doing some like gymnastic type stuff, but just very cool. And of course, iconic pose for Batman. cape going up. I mean, this is brand new, fresh. You can hear the, I don't know if you guys, if the mic is picking it up, but you can hear, like, even that fresh turn. And man, look at, he's punching this guy in the stomach and you feel it. I mean, just, he's really going back. Great. I mean, that arm looks a little long, but still really cool. I love it. I mean, he's lifting this guy off the ground. Everything is perfect. That's the thing about Neil's work, is it just looks so real. And I'm usually not a fan of the realistic art style, kind of like an Alex Ross or something, but he added enough cartoony feel to it that it doesn't feel too real. And of course, you gotta be able to draw animals. Fucking Jaguar there. And that looks so good. I mean, Batman on the back there. And the speed lines of him coming, those action lines of him coming at him. It looks so good. Man. And then, yeah, Batman takes him out. I'm sure PETA's probably not very happy about that. But, hey man, you know, Jaguar attacked Batman, so he's got to do his job. I love this, like, very simple interior here. This, like, looks like a dresser, a chair, and a bar stool. Again, not a lot of backgrounds either. We're seeing some background stuff, but it feels like he didn't have enough time to do, like, this, like a ton of backgrounds. You know, he just establishes, like, we're in a room, here we go, right? Very simple. And then we get, wow, how cool is that? Even is there, I mean, there's a face. Is that, where are they supposed to be? I don't know. Somewhere in the Himalayas. But the face in there, I don't know if that's supposed to be intentional or what, but very cool. I actually don't know the story because I've not read this comic. I always look at comics. I've never actually seen this comic before. On the channel, I always open it up for the first time with you guys to experience it. And if you've experienced it in the past, that's great. But I've actually never read this comic. I know of it. I've known of it. But it's just such a pricey comic. I never got my hands on it. But now that, you know, DC's reprinted it, it's great because it gives people like me the ability to experience it for the first time. I like to experience books for the first time visually, then go through and read it. And I'm kind of experiencing it with you guys for the first time. Great movement of his body going back as he's holding on, and man, he really goes into that swing. Great action, great gesture. I mean, Neil could have done animation for sure. I just love these backgrounds here. Very simple. Snow is very simple. And when you're on a deadline, sometimes your backgrounds are going to have a lot of snow. I mean, Robin looks great. I mean, everything looks great. All the figure drawing looks great. Everything looks natural. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, that's a very difficult thing to learn when you're drawing. Like, when you're drawing, you're always told, like, you gotta work on gesture. You gotta work on gesture. Then you work on gesture, and then everything looks too gestural. Like, everything looks like, you know, like gummy. But then you gotta learn how to go back and add some kind of stiffness to make it look realistic. So it's like you're taught to be very gestural, and then you have to bring it back and be like, okay, now all that gesture stuff, like pushing it to as far as you can, now you gotta get back to the real world. And that's difficult, but, you know, Neil, being a master, knew how to do it really well. I mean, even these legs, I mean, that's a very difficult way to draw the legs. And then you have this foreshortened leg here. Very difficult stuff to draw. If I tried to draw that, it probably would look stiff, or it probably wouldn't look real. But Neil's mastered it at this point, so absolute master. I don't remember if this is before or after Green Lantern. I think it's after Green Lantern. So I have some Neil Adams X-Men. I looked at Neil Adams X-Men, and it's just like, I don't know. I just see like huge improvements from that point. I mean, look at this. Just amazing. I mean, that piece alone could be could be in a museum. And I love how the hand breaks the panel. Very cool. Man, just awesome stuff. Great action. I mean, that's what you need in a comic. You need great action, and action was very valuable back then. Nowadays, I don't think it's as valuable as it once was. But I mean, when you were working alongside, you know, when you were working in the same industry as Jack Kirby, you had to make sure your stuff looked very alive and have a lot of action. So, you know. And then, I mean, every piece just looks amazing. I love the panel breaks. Very cool stuff. The feeling of this guy getting punched in the face and getting punched in the stomach, you can feel it. It's just, man, just a total master. I mean, this is a master class of brilliant drawing in comics. And then we get Talia. I'm pretty sure this is her first appearance, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it's also Ra's al Ghul's first appearance, but again, I'm not entirely sure. And then we get this cool thing. I wish they had put the covers in. I don't even, because I'm assuming these are a bunch of issues put together, but maybe not. Maybe it was just a big annual. I'm not sure. So, and then here we go. We are back. And Batman's being Batman. You know, the stuff feels a bit campy for, you know, I mean, it feels like that campy Batman, but it's still, what a great Batman drawing. I don't know what Batman looked like before or who the artist on Batman was before, but I imagine that this blew people's minds. I mean, yeah, it's like Neil Adams was born to draw Batman. Great piece. I mean, again, we're not doing a lot of backgrounds here. We're doing a lot of color. I know the deadlines were a big thing, so yeah, but I mean, you know, he establishes it. We know what we're in. We know we're in a restaurant. You can look at a lot of these old guys and really understand exactly what needs to be done to become a comic book artist. It's right there on the page. Obviously, they're not going to teach you how to draw or teach you how perspective works, but once you can kind of figure all that stuff out, you can kind of see, like, with an establishing shot and some very simple interior, you can get yourself a long way as an artist, especially in comic books. And then use some solid colors in the back. And you're all good. And I just love these, like, I love the way he draws the mask. Or the cowl. You know, Batman just looks so cool when Neil Adams does it. Love that inking too. There's a lot of cross hatching going on there, you know, for shadows. I also love that, like that very simple, like green background, and there's just some lines going through. And I mean, of course, that inking around Batman's neck to kind of get the forms for the muscle in the back of the neck, or the muscles in the back of the neck. Man, just great action. This book looks so good. If you've honestly, like I said before, like if you're on the fence about this, I would definitely say, like, pick this up. I mean, to be able to look at Neil Adams' artwork at this size, so cool. I mean, the only thing that I think would look better, obviously, is if you had the originals, or if they did like an artist edition. But this looks so good. I mean, just everything looks human. You're never like, I don't know, there's something about like those 90s guys, like they did some cool stuff and it's very stylized, but like, I don't know, I think there's something so cool about just kind of when you look at this. I mean, it feels like you're in real life. Like, obviously it's a drawing, but it feels real. It doesn't feel like over stylized and everybody's on steroids, and you know, and I like that kind of stuff. You know, I like that very stylized like Dale Keown's or um, artists like that, like Stephen Platts. But sometimes you like to live in the real world too, and you know, Neil definitely knew how to make comic books feel real. Man, I love that movement of Batman's. I mean, it's just so cool. How he's got like that weight on that one leg, and he's sort of, you know, you think he's gonna lose his balance and fall. Just, I mean, little things like that. I mean, I don't know if he used reference. I imagine he was using reference because I feel like it'd be very difficult. I know Neil's a big was big on tracing, but I feel like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like if he traced this, I don't think it would look as good as it does. So obviously, there's some creativity going on there. And I love these panels where they're like, it's just so cool. You know, there's not a lot going on in the background. You're really focused on the figure and the action that's going on between the two characters. So cool. You got these close-ups. Not trying to get cute with it. Not trying to like do different like compositions or moving the camera. I don't know. I just like I don't know. I think this is. I feel like sometimes this is like a lost art. But that's just me. I know comic books were much more profitable, back then than they are now. But, man, I love that shadow. So cool. Oh, man. Oh, so that's supposed to be Matches Malone. Okay, see, or whatever. Batman's alter ego, I guess, if you will say. It looks like Stan Lee a little bit. Kind of like Neil Adams wanted to put Stan Lee into the Batman comic. I mean, it's just beautifully drawn. What else can I say? Such a great book. And I love that. He's pulling Batman's arm behind him and he's putting his, I mean, you can feel it in drawing. It's so good. Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love this stuff. I love the way he draws faces. It's so cool. Action, faces, backgrounds. Very simplistic stuff in the backgrounds, but it works. He's got it all down. When you're this good, and look at that. Look at that lighting there. That's the coloring there. Whoever colored this, great job, obviously. Great stuff. Love the lettering. I'm not sure if Neil was doing that or who was doing it, if the letterer was doing it, I'm not sure. It just looks so natural. Everybody just stands so natural and acts so natural. It's like, I don't think Neil could draw a bad drawing. That's difficult, where the legs lifted and it's foreshortened. That's very difficult to do. Again, you just feel the action, you feel the movement. Man, that's a great drawing. I'm a sucker for a great figure drawing. It's all there, man. Looks so good. I definitely see, I don't know, man, I see some Loomis there. I don't know. I can, like, because I studied Loomis. I didn't like Loomis. I studied Bridgman. I study Bern Hogarth occasionally, and that seems like a Loomis drawing. I don't know, but again, when you're learning to draw or you're an artist, you're going to use everything you can, and eventually it's going to click for you in some way. But man, love that cape again. Great drapery, simple background. Very cool. And I think we're on the final part. And man, I love drawing that like hunched over back view. I'm a big fan of that view for some weird reason. It seems difficult, but I've gotten so used to it at this point that it's like very simple for me. I shouldn't say very simple, but it's much easier for me to draw this than maybe something coming forward in front of you. Because you got to get that head placement right, and sometimes that head placement is very difficult, you know. So, man, just great punch there of our final showdown. Man, drawing the back, it's difficult, but that's why I draw it all the time, is because it's so difficult. I love the inking. You're sort of inking every piece. I don't think the back anatomy is totally correct. Might be a little too many bumps on that back, but hey, it works. That's the thing that you need to understand when you're drawing, is as long as it represents what you want it, like as long as it looks like what you're trying to represent, you're good to go. Man, I love the striations in those arms too. That seems like such like a Bruce Lee. Like he was using Bruce Lee as kind of a reference. Again, I don't know what year this is, but I'm assuming it's the 70s. I'm assuming that the Bruce Lee movies were big at the time. Man, solid drawing there. Again, I'm a sucker for arm drawing. When anybody can draw, when anybody can draw the figure well, I'm a sucker for it, but there's something about drawing good arms. Sometimes when I draw that, like I'll forget to put the back coming out. Sometimes I'll be like, shit, and then I gotta restart it because, you know. But yeah, and I love that movement. Like you can tell he threw him. Like his body is moving forward. No, the top of his body is moving forward. And even Batman skiing looks cool. And I think skiing is stupid, but it just looks cool. I love that too. Love me some Neal Adams. You know, sometimes like I forget to list Neal Adams as one of my favorite artists in comics, and then I look at his artwork and I go, how the hell did I forget Neal? You know, Neal's kind of like one of those guys that, like, I don't know, I feel like he's iconic and he's great, but he kind of is left in, I don't know, I feel like he's kind of, when you start talking about comic book artists, you know, you get your usual like Kirby, Hubert, you know, you get John Byrne, guys like that, and I feel like Neal kind of gets left out sometimes, and I don't know why, at least for me. Sometimes I forget, oh yeah, Neal Adams, like, he's amazing. Man, looking at this comic at this size is amazing. I'm assuming this was probably the size that the original Treasury came out. Imagine being a kid picking this up. Yeah. What an amazing piece there. That's kind of like, that reminds me of like a Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X drawing. So cool. And it's so funny because like this kind of looks goofy over here, but this looks so cool. It's just like, man. And then look how cool it was. I mean, he definitely wanted to make Batman a bit hairy, for sure. You know, because that's the sign of manliness, especially in the 70s. You know, if you're hairy, you're a man. So, man, even that arm looks fucking great. That deltoid there going into that bicep, that tricep, and then you get that elbow bone, and then you get that. It just looks so good, and you can see the direction that's going. It's just his hands too. Looks so good. I mean, you can see this hand kind of lifting a bit here. This looks, oh man, this looks so good. The way he draws women too. Great drawing. Kind of reminds me of like a Buscema a little bit. Like a John Buscema drawing. It's funny because like I feel like Neil Adams was DC's John Buscema sometimes. Kind of what I feel like. I don't know. I don't know who I like better. It's very tough. And the funny thing is they both. By the way, I love this arm in the back. See the tricep going into the and then the elbow kind of connecting. I'm working on the arms currently. It's funny because some days I feel like I draw legs really well, and then some days I feel like I draw arms really well. But then I'm like, the days I draw arms really well, I feel like I draw legs very poorly. And then the days I feel like I'm drawing legs very well, I'm drawing arms very poorly, I feel like. But yeah, I can't tell who I like more, John Buscema or Neil Adams. It's so tough. They both have pieces, like they both have iconic composition, like pieces, and like if you look at the Conan stuff and you look at this stuff, but I don't know who I like better. It's so difficult. I don't know. I was gonna say Neil, but then I'm like, then I think about John's work. But I definitely, it feels like Neil was definitely, like, was like DC's John Buscema sometimes. And then we finish on this, and then we have these covers, obviously, iconic Batman covers, especially this one. I'm happy that they put all this stuff. Obviously, another iconic cover, and then yeah, it's just I love how they keep everything, at least to my knowledge, the same. And of course we have the iconic Muhammad Ali versus Superman cover by Neil Adams. So obviously Denny O'Neil, writer, Neil Adams, of course. And I don't know who Irv Novick is. I'm guessing he's the inker. I know who Dick Giordano is and Julie Schwartz is, but I don't know. Irv Novick. If he's the inker, I have no idea who he is. Inkers are tough. And there's iconic inkers that I like forget their names. Past Klaus Janson, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, totally. And then, of course, we got this awesome back cover. I think it's so cool that DC is doing this. I don't know if they ever did one for the iconic Joker cover where he's got the card or whatever, and I know that's a Neil Adams book. I don't know if that's his first Batman book. I'm not sure, but man, so cool. Such a cool comic. And I mean, what a great cover there. Absolutely amazing. I adore Neil Adams' artwork, and I'm a huge Batman fan, even though I cover a lot of, outlaw stuff. I mean, this is just a cool comic to look at. Huge Neil Adams fan, and I'm happy that I could share this with you. And if, again, like I said, if you're on the fence with this, you should absolutely pick it up, because I think that it is totally worth the $14.99, and I'm sure it'll probably go on sale at some point, or maybe it's out of print. I'm not sure. You could probably, on sale, like you could probably get it at like comic book shops because they probably aren't selling for whatever reason. But I don't know. Don't take anything as is. These things might have sold out in like 10 minutes. I don't know, but it's very cool that DC sort of hasn't forgotten, what people want. And I'm very happy they put it on newsprint. They could have very easily put it on matte paper, and they didn't. And that makes me very, very happy. So anyways, guys, that is Neil Adams' Batman iconic limited collector's edition, treasury edition, whatever, reprint of the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul. And yeah, I think it's the first appearance. I'm pretty sure it is. And I mean, it's Neil Adams. Can't go wrong with Neil Adams. Denny O'Neil, great writer. I'm excited to actually read it because, like I said, I experienced the books for the first time with you guys, so that way you can see my reaction. But I'm very happy I picked this one up. So, yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe if you can. I would really appreciate it. And you guys have a wonderful day.